Hey guys, today I wanted to talk about the 2020 presidential election, especially the betting markets and how they are right now between President Trump and former Vice President Joe Biden. Today I'm just going to be filling in this map based on the newest betting odds. So basically, if you don't know how betting odds work, basically let's say if you're to buy a share for Biden, if you think Biden is going to win the election, and if you paid 60 cents for that share, if that was the price right now, then if Biden were to win the election, you would get $1 back for every 60 cents you spend, so you would win 40 cents for every 60 cents you put in. But if Biden loses, then you would basically lose all the money that you put in, and if you bet on Trump and Trump wins, if you bet 40 cents, then of course you would gain 60 cents if Trump were to win. So basically, the betting odds is not a reflection of the polling numbers. However, the polling numbers can definitely affect the betting odds. So there's a lot of cases where Biden might be leading in some states, but Trump is still expected to win just because of its Republican history. So I just want to fill in this map and just make the betting odds more clear for us today. So basically, I'm just going to be filling in these safe states first. Honestly, these states have a very high percentage for either candidate just because these states are almost definitely going to go to either candidate. So basically, the safe states are states in which the share for either candidate is over 80%. So Washington, Oregon, California, these shares are all going to be over 80%, as well as that the states of Nevada is also a solid state for Biden on this map, which I think is pretty surprising considering that Trump was expected to win this state in 2016. He did not, but he was still expected to win on election night. Colorado, New Mexico, these are all safe states. Vermont, Massachusetts, basically all of the Northeast is all safe for Biden, as well as the state of Maine. There's no district categorization, it's just the state of Maine as a whole, which is currently 81 cents per share for Biden. And then the state of Virginia and Illinois, these are the final two solid Democratic states on this map, and the state of Hawaii. And then for President Trump, basically just most of the Republican states. Now, the states like Montana, Utah, I don't think are going to be solid on the map, but I think he's definitely going to win these, and there's definitely over an 80% chance that he's going to win all of these states. I cannot see Biden winning any of these states, honestly. South Carolina, this is all going to be safe for Trump. So this map might look pretty familiar. This is basically all of the more solid blue states and the more solid red states. And then here we have all of the toss-up states, the states that really matter and are going to decide the 2020 presidential election. So first, I just want to fill in some of the likely states. This is between 50 to 65% for both Biden or Trump. And I mean, not 50 to 65, between 65 and 80%. Sorry about that. So the state of Minnesota is a likely state for Biden. Currently a 69% chance for him of winning this state. In the state of Minnesota, honestly, Biden has not been performing too well in the polls here. He has improved from the end of August, his polling numbers from then. But his poll numbers aren't too great here as they once were, but still a likely state for Biden. His numbers have slipped a little bit here. State of Michigan, also a likely state. Same thing here. They've been all right, but definitely not the best that they were for Biden. And then North Carolina, of course, is also a likely state for Biden. Honestly, it's very close to being a solid, say, 70% for Biden. I think he's almost definitely going to win this state, but the margin I don't think is going to be that large. And then the state of Arizona, I want to go deeper into this state. He currently has a 62% chance of winning, so it's going to be a lean state. And looking at the history for the state of Arizona, as you can see, currently the price for Biden is 63 cents. So if you were to buy this share right here, you would win $1 if Biden won Arizona on election night. And looking at the graph here, basically, as you can see, the trend is that Biden has been not doing so well. His average has been decreasing. However, in the last couple of days, they have increased quite a bit, and he is now up 62 to 38 over President Trump. And this is because looking at the polling averages here, just 3 new polls. These are the 3 newest polls. This one, Morning Consult, was done in mid-August, so this one really does not count, but this one was done in late August. And then these 2 other ones done in late August to early September by Fox News. These polls show Biden up 9, up 10, up 10 in Arizona. These are basically Mark Kelly's numbers in the Arizona Senate race. So this is a very good sign for the Biden campaign that they're up by an average of over 9% in the last 3 polls out of a state like Arizona, because Arizona can definitely be a lifeline for Biden if he were to lose some other important state. So Arizona is going to be a lean state for Biden. The next thing I want to talk about is Wisconsin. Honestly, there's been a lot of new polling at the state that I really want to talk about. But looking at this graph here, basically the general trend is that he was up in early July or mid-July. He came crashing down, not crashing down, but pretty steep slope. He went down around 10% here in mid-August, and then he went down like quite a bit there in the end of August. This was after the RNC. A lot of people were betting on that Trump would have a really large convention bump, but he has not seen that. And then afterwards, his numbers have gone up significantly. Joe Biden's and Trump's have gone down. Trump is now at 40 to Biden at 64 or 662 right now on the chart right there. And then looking at the polling averages out of the state, Biden might only be leading by 7.3%, but if you look at these polls, these are all new polls. So if you look back, these, from the 14, 20, 30s, a lot of them are just morning consult polls. These early polls here, these polls we can ignore. But looking at the newer ones, which is what I would basically count as between, let's just say this poll and after and on top. So everything on top of this poll right here, all of these, I think these are all of the newer ones basically, and these polls are all very good signs for Biden. He leads in every single one of them by a large margin of 8% or more. He's by 8 points in the newest one, 10 points in the newest morning consult. In the two Fox News polls, he leads by 8%. In morning consult, by 10, 11, 8, and then 13 right here. These are just very good signs for the Biden campaign. He leads in all of these polls. So according to Morning Consult, Biden has never been underwater in the state of Wisconsin. So this is just, yes, this is a lot of polls that Morning Consult has done at 538 just added today. But this all shows a positive trajectory for Biden in the state of Wisconsin. And honestly, at this point, I think that Wisconsin is going to perform better for Joe Biden in the state of Pennsylvania. So looking at the state of Wisconsin currently, it is a 62% chance of going to Biden. So that is going to be a lean state in the Biden column. And the next state I want to take a closer look at is the state of Pennsylvania. 20 electoral votes. Very important for Biden. He has to win this state. This is his birth state. So looking at the state of Pennsylvania, Pennsylvania is currently 64% for Joe Biden. Not too much of a change here, just like Michigan. It's honestly been doing basically the same as Michigan, but a little bit lower. But the trend basically between Michigan and Pennsylvania is that the numbers have dipped a little bit for Biden. However, it's not too significant. And then looking at the state of Florida, 55% chance, 55% share for Biden in the state of Florida. Honestly, I think Florida is going to be pretty close, but I think Biden's still going to win. I think that 55% is pretty good for Biden. I think that is a very realistic number for Biden right now. He's not doing too well in Florida. He's only been leading by around 2 to 3% right now. He was once up by over 7%. So definitely Biden is not doing as well in Florida as he once was, but still I think he's doing moderately well in the state. And that basically is, I think, all. I don't know how I totally forgot about New York. If you noticed that, I apologize for that. But New York is definitely a safe Democratic state. But the state of Florida is the last Democratic state on this map. 319 electoral votes for Biden. So yes, Biden would win on this map. But looking at the Trump states, I think these are all pretty interesting as well. I'll just take a look at how these numbers have changed for Trump over time, starting off with the state of Texas. So looking at the polling average for Texas right here, not the polling average, the betting odds average here, Trump currently has a 72% chance of winning the state to Biden with 29%. As you can see, Trump's numbers have been increasing steadily. They were lowest, of course, in mid-July, and Biden's have, of course, been declining steadily. And looking at the polling averages out of the state, Trump leads by 0.5%. Biden leads in the newest poll by 3%. Trump leads in two morning consult ones. Biden leads in the next two. So honestly, this is all very close in the state of Texas. I think it's definitely still going to go to Trump, but a 72% chance of victory for Trump in this state, I think it's too high. I honestly think that Trump has a smaller chance of winning this state. I think 72% is a little bit high, but I'm just going to go with it. But I think that Trump is still going to win this state, but I don't think it's going to be that large of a margin. And the next state I want to take a look at is the state of Iowa, which is also going to be a likely state. 71% share for him right now. Looking at the state of Iowa, 71% to Biden with 31%. And same thing here, as you can see, just an improvement for Trump, a decline for Biden. However, Biden has been making up some ground in the last couple of days. But really nothing too major here, not too many polling average changes here. But Iowa, I think it's still going to go to Trump at the end of the day. I think it might be a tilt state, honestly a lean state if Trump were to do really well. But I think it's still going to be a very close race. I think it's going to be closer than the state of Texas. And then the state of Ohio is the next state, 68% for Trump currently, which is also going to make it a likely state for the president. Looking at the state of Ohio right now, the state 68% for Trump, 35% for Biden. I think it's the same thing. If we look at all of this, Trump has been making ground over the month of August. In the month of August, he has been playing catch up. He has been doing well, in my opinion. He has really made up a lot of ground. As you can see, he is now at his peak. He was never this high. He was at 63% in early June. However, now he's all the way up at 68%. So definitely this is a good sign for the Trump campaign, but he has not been really making the gains in the important states that matter. Because honestly, a state like Ohio is a must-win for Trump. This is not a state that Biden is defending. This is a state that Trump shouldn't even be defending. He won the state by 8% in 2016. He's barely leading the polls here. According to the polls, it would be a tilt margin out of the state of Ohio. So Ohio is going to be another likely state. And the last likely state for President Trump is the state of Georgia, 66% for President Trump. 66% I think is all right in a state like Georgia. I'm surprised to see that Georgia is doing worse for Trump than some other states. I honestly think that Biden has a lesser chance of winning the state of Georgia than Texas. So looking at the state of not North Carolina, Georgia here, the numbers here in Georgia, 66% for President Trump in Georgia and 35% for Joe Biden. So basically, you can see same thing, but Georgia's honestly been seeing a little bit more of a peak. At Biden's peak, Trump was down at 53, Biden was up at 48. So Biden was only down 4% at his peak, and now he's down like around 30 points, I believe 33. I think that's number, or 31. But this is a good sign for Trump. He's doing pretty well and say that he should win. But I think that definitely, the state is out of Biden's reach at this point. I think Trump is going to carry it, but albeit by a very small margin. So Georgia, another likely state for the president. And then the last state on this map, North Carolina. This is going to be a lean state. Currently, Trump has only a 52% chance of winning this state. Or 53, I think it is now. But looking at the North Carolina numbers, yes, 53 right there. Looking at the numbers here, Biden has been leading in the state for quite a while. If you look at the 538 average, Biden is still leading in the state. Biden has never been behind in the state of North Carolina. And new polls all show Biden up considerably. 2 Fox News polls show Biden up 4 points each. And then 3 Monmouth University polls all show Biden up 2 points. Jorgensen, and then this one of course had the third-party candidates. And then looking down here, Trump led by 2 in 1 poll on the first. However, it's all been Biden leading. Biden has been doing very well in North Carolina. A lot of forecasts have moved the state back into the Biden column after taking it out in late August after the RNC. However, now I think it's been more steady. I think that Biden is the clear winner here. I'm not clear winner, but I think that most people can agree the state of North Carolina has a much better chance of going to Biden than it does of going to Trump. And the numbers do reflect, they don't reflect this, but they do reflect that Biden has seen a great improvement in the state of North Carolina. So North Carolina, this is going to be a tilt state, not a tilt state, a lean state. There's only 3 categorizations, so solid, which is over 80%, and then between 65 to 80, of course, is a likely, and then a lean is between 50 to 65%. So if you can check out this map on your own, just search a predicted betting odds map for the 2020 presidential election. You can check out each individual state by yourself. I think it's pretty cool to take a look at all of these averages. So, yeah, that is it for this video. This map does show that Biden would win the election with 319 electoral votes to President Trump with 219 if the election was solely based off of the polling data results that we have right now. So if you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to my channel, as well as leaving a like on this video. Leave your thoughts in the comments below, along with any video suggestions you'd like to see from me in the future, and I will see you in the next video.